Welcome to Massive Beers. My name's Matt. We do the beer stuff here. New brewery time in the form of Ten7 Brewing. This is their Blink-180 brew. Get it? Blink-182, Blink-180 brew. This be a hazy India Pale Ale. See if they have story time on here. Government warning. North Wales, PA. They're located in, which is kind of north-ish of Philly, Langhorny kind of area. A hazy anthem of pineapple, citrus, and stone fruit. Brew 1, Eldorado, and Citra. Crank the flavor to 11. Loud, juicy, and gone in a blink. It was all right. Little graffiti stylings. I'm sure I've had a 10-7 beer before. I believe this is the first one I'll be reviewing. It was cool to see them pop up on the shelf. I've heard of them. Haven't been to the brewery, but I was at I forget where I even picked this up. I think it was actually relatively close to me, and I saw it, and I was like, yeah, let's give it a whirl, see where we land. So label-wise, all right, well, basic graffiti, if you will. And as far as that beer goes, it looks the part of a hazy, but like old school, new school hazy, a la the sips and the sunshines and that kind of things of the world. It has this haze to it, but nothing too crazy, nothing super turbid. Skews a little bit more in an amber color and an almost, two fingers of a kind of soapy edged, little bit tighter concentration in the center kind of head to it. As far as dating goes, it's just about a month old. They don't date their cans, but their social media gave me a little bit of clue what's going on. So looks the part of an old school, new school, old school, something along those lines. IPA. Let's give it a huff. Okay, definitely that passion fruit, definitely that tropical fruit is kind of busting at the seams here. Comes off a little bit kind of marmalade, a little bit candied kind of sweetness to it. So it comes off as this kind of just this, again, that kind of when you think about the old school alchemist, the old school kind of, why am I, Nebco kind of beers, those kind of old school IPAs that came in before the super turbid hazy game kind of came into play. So you have those super bursting at the seams, tropical jams. If I want to sit here and pull a pineapple, it's just all fine, but it really is more for me that big, huge tropical fruit in that more candy, slight marmalade kind of way. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. That's tasty. And it really does kind of follow suit in that new school, old school kind of way, that you're getting a kind of malt base here. It's not all brewer sugar. There is a malt here, nothing too crazy. Tastes like a little bit of crystal, maybe a dollop of, I would even say like a honey malt kind of thing. It has this little bit of sweetness that is you can't really duplicate and the type of sweetness it gives, which is that more candy kind of sweetness you get from a straight malt based beer as opposed to just heavily oated brewer sugar kind of beer. On the hop side of things, you have that, again, that tropical fruit coming through, not nearly as big or as sweet as you thought it would be based off what you're getting on the nose and that precursor sweetness, but you're getting a nice sweetness to it. So it helps prop up those tropical fruits, makes it more that marmalade kind of hard candy kind of sweetness. Not overly sweet, but that kind of vein of kind of sweetness. And then, you run that tropical fruit, the citruses are in there too, but it really is the tropical portion of the show here. It's more of a kiwi, passion fruit, kind of mango kind of combination here. That's not heavy handed, but you're drinking something at half 7%. So it's not a tiny beer, but not a small beer by any stretch of the imagination. And the mouth feels nice. It's not super lush. It's not satiny or anything like that. Kind of assume that based off of the look of the beer. But when I talk about hazy IPA, when you talk about hazy IPA on a can nowadays, even though this is tried and true, a hazy IPA, you kind of default to just this turbid, butternut squashy kind of thing going on here. This is, again, keep harkening back to that old school, new school kind of vibes. You're getting that New England before the Treehouse, before the Trilliums kind of vibes going here. A little bit of Fiddlehead, like a little bit of a Lawson's kind of vibe, in the way they produce beers, but with that little bit more new school of a hop, that tropical coming through pretty hefty, and a drinkable package. Again, it drinks 7%, but since it's not ultra turbid, it has this level of drinkability that makes it a little bit dangerous, but I'm here for it. I think it's very, very tasty. This is a fun beer. I'm glad I picked it up. And honestly, diving back into these, I love myself a turbid, new school, kind of drop out of bitterness, hazy. This one really does drop out a decent amount of bitterness. There's a slight little residual bittering to help balance a bit of that sweetness, but it's very much like that old school. And when I dive into these, even though I wasn't expecting that, I just kind of assumed Hazy IPA, 10-7 Brewing, not that I have a history with them, newer brewery. I thought it was going to be kind of that super new school. It definitely has those old school kind of vibes in it, but with those new school kind of hops really showing their way. Very tasty beer. Glad I picked up. Glad I got a 4 pack of it. It's a nice change up between those super turbid, crazy beers that I love, but I also love these. So there you go. That's my review. I don't really have much else to say beyond that, other than it's just one of the better hazy IPAs I've had. It's not Mount Rushmore status for me, but if I kind of pigeonhole it into that old school, new school kind of vibe, it's still one of the better ones. Maybe just outside looking in Mount Rushmore status, but tasty nonetheless. Like I said, glad I picked it up. Value and availability, picked it off out of a cooler, really local to me. I want to say it was 17, $18. That's kind of your going rate for hazy IPA nowadays, especially for relatively regional local breweries. Leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you harken back to those days where you want the Gandhi Bots of the world and you want those kind of sips of the world, but you want something that is a bit more tropical on the hops and from a localish or newish, maybe for you if you don't live in the area, kind of jam, you'll dig on this. So there we go. Reviewing the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Massive beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massey for the podcasting stuff. And yeah, 10-7. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? If you've had this, please let me know your thoughts. All that fun stuff or anything else down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a bit of old school, new school haze. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.